All right, I'm here with Michael Leigh.
What's up,
Welcome to the
Sandeep?
podcast, Michael Leigh. How's it going?
Sandeep, I'm so excited. I love that you got this podcast going. Um, I can see, I know you just kind of started, so I'm looking forward to like the development on the podcast. And
Yeah,
I love listening to podcasts of people that I actually know. I have been listening to a few podcasts from a few different people in Miami, just on my drives, and besides radio and YouTube, it's I really do enjoy, uh, yeah, listening to people I know
yeah,
and talk about things they're interested in.
nice. Yeah, me too. I got inspired by watching some videos on Substack for some people that I knew from CIS. Uh, and one person, Matt Segal, or not sure if his name is pronounced Segal, but he has a Substack that I really like. He talks about philosophy um, and when he made some videos with some of his philosopher friends, I was able to uh, really understand, I think, the ideas that he was chewing on a lot better. And um, and so I had started a Substack several months ago, and they're not sure where to go with it. And then I had the idea of inviting people I knew and people I don't know yet to have conversations around music, psychedelics, uh, culture, and uh, socioeconomic aspects of all that, and mental health, of course. So, yeah, I wanted to have you on, and you have a very interesting approach to uh, doing sound healings. We've done some sound healings together. And so I've gotten a window into your approach to doing it. I think it's really unique. And so, yeah, I'd love to hear about like the maybe the development of this. And so viewers know, uh, I know Mike really well. We've been close friends for many years. So uh, that provides context for how I will approach this podcast. So, at some point, you had gone for a ayahuasca dieta, I know, and you came back very, very inspired musically, and I feel like that shifted a lot of things in how you do sound. Is that something that um, you knew before going to the Amazon that you would be working with music, so in this new way, or was it
Mm-hmm.
something surprising?
No, it was something that I was expecting, and it hit pretty close to what I thought was going to be there for us. Uh, yeah, we've been friends for I don't know how long now, over a decade, um, easily. 2012 probably. It's 2026 now, and our one-to-one relationship, music has had an integral part in our friendship and our
Yeah,
camaraderie. And I've always been very inspired by your discipline of practice, and also free spirit of when you're playing a instrument, and how playful you are with it, and how the practice and the improvisation both come together and create this, always great experience to hear you play music. Um, yeah, found myself with plant medicine, and specifically from the uh, musical lineages of the upper Amazonian, Peruvian Amazon basin, and where they use Icaros in their in ceremonial context for ayahuasca ceremonies.
what's the Icaros, if for people who don't
Uh,
know?
Icaros are songs that are sung by usually someone in charge of a ayahuasca ceremony. Uh, Other people can sing it too during the ceremony, but it's usually what guides the session, the multi-hour session, picking things up, putting them down, slowing things down. They're used to, I feel, target different aspects of ourselves. So when I went to the jungle, what I noticed one was that in general, I think what the music and that kind of experience is about, um, to me, really is about embodiment
Hmm.
and the whole healing practice as well. When I went there, one of my main objectives was how do I become a better massage therapist? How will going down there and being surrounded by sound and music, because the music isn't just happening in the ceremonial context, it's happening 24 hours a day with the birds and the trees and the wind
I love the
constantly
recordings you brought back. Yeah, and
constantly
we
going
even
off.
used your field recordings for during a sound healings.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I think, I think that's an important context in the kind of work that I do, kind of immersing the person's uh, energy into what being in the jungle is like. I'm in
Yeah.
Miami right now. I'm in. This is my bedroom um,
Okay.
in Little Havana, Miami, and I get waken up by chickens pretty early every day. I don't set an alarm clock. I feel I'm like pretty fortunate uh, to have
Yeah,
that.
my cat wakes me up every day, so I don't need an alarm clock.
Yeah, So, but being out in the jungle, I was waking up when I was out there in my tambo. I was going to bed at like as the sun was coming down, if there was no ceremony, and then waking up at 5:30, 6 with the change of birds coming in and out, with the sun starting to come out, and I took hours upon hours of field recordings, because at different times of the day there's different animals doing different things.
Hmm.
um, Most field recordings that I've been using and mixing into sound baths have been usually either at these more exciting times where there's all these birds like and these things that bring a certain sense of mystery and excitement or wonder, or um, whatever it may be.
Yeah,
To
there can be sounds that really in your environment that really take you out of your mental, you know, cognitive
mo-
mode, and uh you can't help but being uh have a feeling of interconnectedness, I think, when right now I have lots of birds. It's summertime in Appalachia, but in the Amazon, I haven't been to the Amazon, but I just can't imagine the how that might affect um, the ceremonial nature of the whole time you're there, and the expansion of consciousness, and it seems like you'd be altered the whole time, you know, and uh, that's something interesting. I think there's a lot interesting there, and I think that's not as much talked about in the psychedelic world. So there is a tension between, you know, right now we have clinics that are doing ketamine and they just throw on a Spotify playlist and that's the music support. Really not much is talked about or thought. There isn't very much depth of um, understanding of why am I playing a certain piece of music at a certain time. And if there is, it doesn't go past this aspect of we want to just gently support, whatever might be happening in the subjective experience. So it tends to be like soft ambient music. Um, Whereas in a ayahuasca ceremony, it's very different. Um, there's a sort of very sophisticated sense of ceremonial craft. Uh, so I'm curious your thoughts there in terms of like, popular psychedelic music that's branded as psychedelic music, and
Mhm.
then in indigenous context where there can be, from a Westerner's point of view, the music could be quite jarring. Like in iboga ceremonies in Gabon,
Mhm.
there could be chanting and dancing, and that is that's loud and um, uh, so yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff there, and I'm curious of how like you see your approach to that ceremonial craft in sound baths and um, uh, how what do you see your role is in terms of curating this aspect of music, and
Mhm.
um, how should people's consciousness change? Like there is a dynamic there of like the ceremonialist, the shaman, the leader of the sound bath, having this, they have the power over a lot of the environmental context,
Mhm.
and people, when most people think of sound baths, they go there and they think, okay, it's something I'll go and it's relaxing and I'll just drift off. And
Mhm.
um, but in and your approach to sound baths is a little different, I think.
So uh, I like to think of like I like to ask myself the question: what will help someone feel more connected, right? What
Mm.
what what exactly will make someone feel more alive, right?
Alive.
What
Mm.
what what is going to get like their extremities, tingling to and receptive to the things that are going on in this space. Um, and there's a lot of factors. Yeah, the environment, like you said, is massive, and not just sound, but visually as well. We
Mm.
have these. When people do sound baths, a big important thing is what's the visual like, right? A lot of people put a lot of intention and effort into making like an altar or putting roses around or having some kind of like aesthetic because it makes a difference.
Hmm.
I mean, in the jungle, something that caught me off, one thing that caught me way off guard were the amount of fireflies in the jungle. The colors of the fireflies, the speed at which they were flying. I mean, it was incredible. And
Hmm.
then also, when you're in this liminal state, uh, it's funny. There was there was also these little green LEDs that looked like that matched pretty close to the color of one of the fireflies that they were using to guide people to the bathroom, like a trail to the bathroom. And when I like, at this moment I open my eyes, I'm like, oh my God, the fireflies are guiding us to the, to the bathroom. It's like the connectedness, And I was like, wait a second, those are lights. Yeah. And, but the fireflies are very real. And it's when I got up and sung a song, the first time that I at the end of ceremonies where I go, they ask participants to share music if they want to. And one of the first song that I sung, something that I felt very connected with and proud of and all that. And I felt like I had gathered enough knowledge about Icaros to put something together. There was a firefly that was like interacting with me. Someone told me, like just flying around. And there's like synchronicities,
Synchronicities.
synchronicities that happen, you know,
Yeah.
in these ceremonies. So like you're a practitioner
Yeah.
and you
Hmm.
want to, you know, have your people that come. You might be at the lobby of some hotel that you kind of have to make a makeshift. You know, they're like, oh, you're going to perform over there. You have to make the decision to be like, is this where I want to perform? Is there any leeway? Maybe there's another room I can perform in, or something at a yoga studio, very controlled, you know, quiet, and you know, got the AC and the people, you know, the people. It's not their first time, and you
Hmm.
know, is it? Are you performing from like one dad from Denmark who's never done this, or for like 10 people from the neighborhood who love doing this with different practitioners, maybe, or maybe you know they come to you once a month or whatever. I think all these things you got to take into account all these things. You know, do you do the same thing every time? How much space do you have for like your own improvisation with any instrument that you bring on? Um, I kind of have like right now the way I've been doing it, because I feel like I'm also practicing just to be a better musician or more of a musician that I want to be. I have a kind of protocol of what instruments I use,
Hmm.
and this protocol I feel like works on different actual aspects of ourselves. Like I love starting off with the flute, a Native American flute in D minor. It's just the one I have, and I feel like that works really great with the emotional body. When I play that, um, I play these long, you know, tones that kind of like almost sound like someone's almost wailing or
Hmm.
singing very slowly, and I feel like that really, you know, starts shifting the attention of someone paying attention to a tone. And I think after oscillation just has this amazing impact on our nervous system, and I think oscillation has this impact not only physically, but through sound and, of course, light. So, as a massage therapist, one of my best tools to help someone relax is to hold a limb, hold a whole limb, and gently oscillate. It's really great for like the elderly, especially, or people with cancer. It's something that is very has been shown to be very impactful to help their rest and repair their parasympathetic nervous system.
Hmm.
With sound, I believe it probably works the similar way. A long tone, my idea is that it helps people relax.
Hmm.
When I put my records on, when I have these like longer these pieces with music that are whatever, it helps me kind of like bring it down.
Hmm.
So especially in a sound bath or an ayahuasca ceremony where you're about to like embark on a journey, bringing it closer to the heart, to the emotions, I think is a good way to start a session like that. That's how
Yeah.
right now, that's how I see it. That's kind of like what I've gathered from being in the jungle. Um, it's like massaging somebody. What one thing I picked up in the jungle is that um, you know, I wanted to learn techniques. I wanted to learn techniques on how to become a better massage therapist. I wanted techniques to learn how to like heal different parts of like myself, you know.
Hmm.
Oh, my
Hmm.
back hurts. Oh, I'm too lazy. Oh, you know, I'm eating too much of whatever. And, you know, what I want to learn techniques so I can be more well-rounded and things like that. And also just a better musician. Um, really what I the big lesson for me coming out of the jungle was that just attention is something that you've always had. You've always had your attention, and that is just an incredibly powerful tool, um, to observe,
Yeah.
to listen, to be patient, patient with yourself also, not to jump from one note to the next note because you think you have to entertain or because you have
Mm-hmm.
to put on a show. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, again, like your relationship with the people before the ceremony is important. It's changed a lot in how I think about delivering sound or delivering therapeutic touch. So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, what I learned in what's impactful with touch is that whenever I'm working on someone, let's say I'm working on someone's calf muscle or whatever, any part of the body, or forearm, let's say, there's a difference when you go in and you start like, okay, let me start singing, let me start massaging, let me start doing this stuff, or when you put a hand over it, you know, and then that person's body, we were talking about uh, you know, the subconscious, right? Or, and if you talk about the subconscious, you got to talk about the unconscious because the universe is the unconscious and our somatic bodies are part of the universe. So therefore, our bodies
Mm-hmm.
must be part of the unconscious. And if our bodies are part of the unconscious, it's the part of the unconscious that, we are connected to, um, our consciousness, right? I don't know. This is me just theorizing here. Uh, so if that is so, then our awareness in our bodies is like, I think John Patrick Shanley, a playwright, once said, "Our consciousness is like a mere caretaker in a massive mansion." So yeah, all of a sudden a hand gets put on me, or wherever, and I'm like, oh wow, I never knew that place was tight. A lot of people say, wow, I came in for
Mm-hmm.
this part hurting, but I had no idea that this part hurt. It's only
Mm-hmm.
sometimes
Yeah.
until we put attention into things, they're like, oh wow, this flute is like shredding my like emotions right now. uh I had no idea I really cared about this conversation I had with this person as much as I do right now. And I'm really like thinking about what they said, and yeah, what they said does make a lot of sense. Or it's like, wow, I can really feel, even though I was like offended at what they said, I can understand where they're coming from, and their
Mm-hmm.
pain. And, you know, so a hand goes on the body and something I think miraculous happens. The body trusts the touch. All of a sudden you're manipulating soft tissue fibers all the way down. You're truly doing like deep tissue therapeutic work, and not by force. It's more by respect and trust. It's not like healing, whether if it's through music or touch or any kind of modality, is not technique. It's more about, again, context, relationships, attention,
Yeah.
the environment, and how safe that person feels in that space right now. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I carry into my sound healing sessions. That's what I carry into my massage therapy practice. That's what I try and bring into, my relationships. And everything provides its own challenges, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's your one-to-one relationship with your parents or your therapeutic clients.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you're going to have people that have certain conditions that you've never worked with before. And that's an opportunity for you to be very present into what's happening, and you do what you do, and then you see what the outcome of that was for you to help that person a little better next time, or it really helps that person. And then next time someone comes with you with similar set of circumstances, you know something about that and you can help them and yourself, or yourself, rather than hurt them or yourself.
Yeah,
Because just as much as you're providing therapeutical opportunities for people, every day you're providing therapeutical opportunities for yourself with the decisions you make.
totally. And yeah, I think you're right. Something powerful where if you it all starts with presence and attention. And that's something that music is really has this interesting um, aspect to it where it can provide a lot, give you a lot more flexibility to where your attention is at. Like, um, if you're feeling down, you can put on some music and dance, and it can really take you out of that like nothing else can. Um, and if you're uh, maybe in a loop of rumination and getting down on yourself, it can really help you zoom out of yourself and kind of see that part of yourself with perspective. Um, and that's something that I think really, yeah, for especially in more difficult um, modes of suffering,
Mhm.
there can be music can be used much more wisely than it is. And we have a lot to learn, I think, from the
Mhm.
ceremonial craft of the shamans.
Mhm.
Um, do you think Icaros, the music and the ceremonial craft, everything that's happening in the ceremony, but especially the Icaros and music, um, do you think a shaman is working with everyone does he somehow have like tapped into the field and is able to affect everyone with the Icaros um, somehow, in their own unique way. Um, what's happening
Uh,
there?
yeah, great question. Fantastic question. Uh, you know, I think that uh, I think he's not forcing himself to do anything. He's not forcing himself to like penetrate the person's like soul. I think that he provides a platform for people for the magic to be like germinated within people.
Kind of
Uh,
like the touch you're talking about. You present the touch, and you're trusting, and you're allowing that trust from the other party to meet that. And that,
oh, a little bit of disconnect here. Can you hear me? Hello?
yeah, I can hear you now. It's kind of
Yeah.
choppy. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. All good. All good. Yeah.
I
You
think it's
know,
better.
yeah, I think so. I think I got what you were just saying. Uh, yeah. I mean, let's say you're working with, I don't know, 15 people, right? I think 15 is a great size of sound of people to work with. Easily manageable, I think,
Mm.
for the most part, where you're also like, I think just as much as the shaman plays a role in the communal thing, I think the other participants do as well.
Yeah.
Um, because I'm not just picking up vibes from the curandero. I'm also picking up vibes from people around me. There's a like a
Uh,
like a veteran, sitting across from me, and then all of a sudden I was like, I was in the trenches,
mhm.
and just like thinking about that whole thing for a minute, and and really kind of like thinking of drawing parallels to my own life, thinking about, history and all the people who've come before us who were in the trenches in different, or not necessarily just like our ancestors, but just people in general, and like, this
Yeah.
interconnectedness and like what we're as like collectively willing to accept. Are we okay with trench warfare? A great example, that guy, when the curandero was doing Olympia on this veteran for our dieta, he did a Olympia for everybody.
Okay.
He didn't sing. He didn't use any instruments. He used no instruments. He was doing it a cappella, which was the only person he did that for. No rattle, no shakapa, no drum, just a cappella singing to him.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. It was I have like ideas, but I don't know.
What's your idea? Just curious.
Yeah, I mean the voice. I think that I think a couple of things. One, I think maybe he noticed, maybe the veteran noticed that he was receiving something unique from the rest, apart from the rest of the group, where the rest of the group got, I like that, I had my Olympia was awesome. I feel like everyone loved their Olympia, but maybe one aspect was like, oh, he's not using an instrument on me, it's a cappella. Maybe, it made him feel special. Maybe, sometimes people that get like unique treatment might feel special. And I think that's
Maybe he needed that at the time.
Yeah, maybe maybe there was just more concentration, just singing the song to him. I don't remember the song. Maybe it was a special song. Sometimes you just gotta put things down. Sometimes you just gotta like put everything down, and you gotta sing to the beloved in a way you haven't.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do think that he's kind of like, in many ways, the curandero, the shaman, is definitely touching on different aspects of everybody, energetically, because it's not, he just doesn't just show up. He's got a crew of people on payroll. They take care of this space out there in the jungle all year round. They're constantly going there, rebuilding the tambos, switching out old wood to make sure that like it doesn't, when someone's in their tambo by themselves, it doesn't like bust, and they like, maybe they're doing daytime ayahuasca in their tambo, and they want to make sure that everything's like kind of like safe. I think a lot of work, a good curandero, a good shaman puts in a lot of work to make sure that everyone is going to have a good time, an easy time to work through sometimes what is very challenging things that people like go to the jungle to work on. Again, is this a new thing in the history of the world where people are going to the jungle to like have these experiences? I hear some debate about, are dietas like a new thing? Have they ever existed until like, I don't know, a couple of years ago? I don't know, but I don't think that like necessarily matters, because it's happening now, right? People are going to the jungle, they're having these impactful experiences. I do believe that there has been a student-teacher generational thing going on for God knows how long. Because definitely people have been dieting plants, a lot of these plants, because of fires and deforestation and environmental, kill sprays for whatever, whether if it's to clear land, to grow something else, or to extract minerals, or to just create more cities to get more paying clients for whatever it is that you're trying to push. There has been a decline in plants that you can diet. You know, the curandero that I go see, he's dieted plants that he can't find anymore.
Oh, really?
Uh,
Huh.
yeah, yeah,
Well,
and
something you were saying there I thought of something to ask you about. So with this changes that are happening, people are going and doing dietas, uh, and their music is an important part of that, and coming back and how it informs their life. Do you think there's any problems with the um, the Western interaction with that world? Because the Western tends to commodify everything, and do you think one day we're gonna have like AI generated Icaros?
you know, coming right after coming out of the jungle, I was explaining this to someone, and they're like, "Do you think AI can do what you did in the jungle?" And I thought for a moment, and I said, "Sure," because I think that anything is possible. What we don't know that can happen, anything can happen, right? I mean, aliens could come
But
tomorrow,
will it
right?
be a good thing?
You know, a good thing would be just in the kind of effort that we put behind
Yeah,
our
intention.
actions. Yeah,
Yeah,
uh, it can be great, but it can also be, you know, could also be the end of the world. Things that are not great about going, you know, people and what is it? I think Shakruna Institute put a book together highlighting all
yeah.
concerns about this. Really good book. Talks about one the different kinds of abuse that happens with curanderos and
Hmm.
their participants, sexual abuse. There's people who are not cooking their own medicine,
Hmm.
um, you know, buying it from someone else and being like, oh, here, this is the medicine. You know, they might be like eating and drinking, you know, hours before that, and they put on an outfit, and then there's people who are there because they want a therapeutic experience, and they heard about it, and they heard Joe Rogan talk about it and whatever. And then, you know, there's this sham of a guy who's like, oh, this is what I made, and it's like he doesn't know what it is.
Yeah,
They surely don't know what it is, and maybe there's something else in there to create this experience that they think they want, you know, to throw up or to see things or to, you know, I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes they do cook it, but maybe they cook it like in a day, right? Um, that maybe they buy the ingredients from somewhere, maybe they, yeah. And then there's like the tourism, like the adventure ayahuasca stuff, where people are like going out like jet skiing and then drinking ayahuasca and then doing all sorts of different things, or just people, whatever it is that they're doing, bringing people in, charging them, and not also sharing, reciprocating what they're getting from tourists with the people around them, which reciprocity is with everything, at least in the Peruvian curandero cosmovision, or reciprocity with everything, I think is central to the classical way of how a curandero sees the world. That's
Hmm.
how a curandero thinks about healing. That's how they think about everything. I think in the center of like their north, south, east, and west is this idea that just shockwaves out, which is just reciprocity with everything. You know, I
Yeah,
think any
that's
ailment you
also
come to,
seems very
yeah,
central to like the a lot of indigenous traditions, and even the way that music is experienced and created is not to necessarily for a it's not a one-way street, like in um in an Indian devotional music context, for example. I my people are from India, and uh in the Indian devotional singing context, it's conceptualized as a two-way experience between the devotional singer, and if there's an audience there, the audience, and then as well as with the relationship to that particular uh, deity that's being sung to, um, and when and so we over the past like half century, we've seen so much of the West experience that and try to bring it back, and now we have this in the US. We'll have chanting that happens, and so for me, it can be hard to listen to music that where Westerners are trying to do Indian music and not pronouncing um, the Sanskritam properly. They're kind of putting Indian chants into like Western melodies. So they've really decontextualized it, and uh, and they're creating their own livelihood. They're putting out maybe albums. There might be doing selling uh, sound healings. Or I'm curious, like so now that we have this more recent phenomenon of people going into the Amazon, what's what's the threat of that decontextualizing of ayahuasca tradition as it comes into the U.S. And now we have psychedelic medicine on the scene,
Mhm.
and as you know, with Sound Self, we are really trying to bring a ceremonial craft to into clinical context where it's not really thought about, and but yeah, I think there's a lot of problems around around the extraction of certain convenient aspects of musicality, and then it's things are lost. Like my last podcast guest, for example, Purab in India,
Mhm.
he was speaking about how there's new religious movements that are trying to teach songs, but they've totally like messed it up. The old
Yeah,
shamanic
but also
chants, and
it's on purpose too. They're doing that on
yeah,
purpose.
that's a whole nother level, but of like maybe intentional confusion and deception. But you know, so- in what? Yeah, I'm curious your thoughts there around like people and ayahuasca and
Yeah,
music in the U.S. and commercialization.
totally. So, one, I think that the medicine is good. The spirit of the medicine is good. So that's one. You know, I sat with, besides my trusted curandera, I sat with one person the third time I drank, and the medicine was not the same. The Everything was not the same. Everything was like, let's say, the opposite. Like the police showed up in the beginning of the when we were opening the circle. It
That's
was
not the
insane.
kind of Icaro you want.
No, there were no Icaros. He didn't sing. There was like a group of people that maybe said,
Yeah.
and in the middle of the ceremony, he tried to sell a retreat experience in Colombia. You know, I was like, come on, but I was like sober throughout the whole thing. I drank. I had like a vision of this galactic tarantula spinning a portal for me to like exit the ceremony right as I drank. And I got up and I purged and then I sat down and I was like stone cold sober until the next morning. Like we slept in the elements and I went home and then I had like this amazing dream afterwards.
Uh-huh.
Um the I
Mm.
think that healing happens where it needs to happen in the context of how it needs to happen. So I'm really interested uh, in how our homes, how our workplaces, how our communities, and in the way we interact with one another all impact our health. Um, I think that it's part of the reason why I'm not like rushing to go back down to the Amazon, because everything that I kind of like went through down there, I feel like I'm working with the medicine still on a day to day basis. A lot of questions that or things that come up every single day for me.
Hmm.
For me, I was it just felt like really, really, really present. It's like And I mean, for me, it was also like financially to go down there. I was, I was between work. I had injured myself twice that year, pretty seriously, plantar fasciitis and like bad back that like put me down, and uh, so it was almost like a gamble for me. So it was like I had a lot kind of like on the table. I to go down there, and where I feel like some people that can make a like an easy investment, I'm like, they're like, oh, this is just a couple thousand, whatever, however it is, 2,000 more, less.
Yeah.
uh for some people that's nothing, and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna do
Mhm.
this, I'm gonna, whatever. uh I think that whatever that it is that we're trying to like work on, or whatever experience that like we want to get, because we have some kind of burning question or major objective, and we're trying to ask the universe how we can solve these things or come to the next step. There is like no right or wrong way to do things. So I think that if you have the opportunity to go down and sit with someone you trust, I think it's a good thing. Um, I think it's a good thing because we it's here. The medicine is
Yeah,
here.
you got to take your chance when it's here. And
I mean, God bless this medicine. God bless these protectors, these teachers, these healers, and they're everywhere. And it doesn't just powerful experiences don't just happen in the jungle too. They happen all around us. There are healers all over the world. There are
yeah, yeah,
curanderos all over the world. Every single city, every block has a healer, and they work in their own way, in their own capacity, and we're doing this all together. Uh, I mean, and we're free. That's the thing. Like we have been free forever, and forever we will be free. And we're all learning from people that came before us. Um, when I drink ayahuasca, I'm like, why am I doing this? It's like I have so much to do back home. It's like there's a part of me. There's always a part of me
yeah,
usually in the beginning of the experience, where I'm just
yeah,
like, what the hell? Like, I am going through it right now. Like, I am like in a fever, and I'm just like, my whole being feels like I just put my whole body, soul, and spirit in a washing machine. And for what? Usually by the end of it, at
yeah,
least with the guy that I work, I feel like incredible. I mean, just insight that I'm able to keep or not able to keep, that in fact impacts me, is good energetically. When I work with the medicine, when I work with my curandero and the community that I work with, it is a always net positive by by a lot.
that's great. Yeah,
That's how I feel about it. And uh, really, songs that, to bring it back to the beginning, sound baths that I do and songs that I do, and kind of the way I structure it, is also very much inspired by how I experience music in ayahuasca ceremonies.
yeah, okay, yeah, definitely. I think that's such a unique thing you bring, and to doing sound experiences. Um, I feel like there's I want to talk about another topic here, which is um, the something incredible about the world we live in now is that we have access to lots of different types of music, and there's a lot of creativity happening all around the world. with like people inventing new instruments almost on a daily basis on Instagram. I see like people have invented some awesome, interesting creation. Um, and yeah, in your uh, what's something that you got high vibes on right now in terms of like aspect of sound or an instrument or music
Yeah.
um or concerts or
Yeah.
what's something that's really exciting you?
Yeah. I mean, I love seeing people create new instruments or build instruments for that matter. Um, Thank God, these things that are now in the world, right? Uh, I've I'm always going to be huge into the West African kora type instrument. Um, to me, that is just an undying, source of beauty and wonder. Um,
Hmm.
I have recently this year joined a community choir. Voice is something that is there's always some kind of ingenuity or some kind of like new thing that you discover that you can do,
Yeah.
um, and then even if it's just the amazement of like singing learning a new song with people. there's a lot there's a lot of benefit in that, singing with people. Recently I joined a samba school here in Miami called Miami Bloco. I'm Brazilian, right? I have a Brazilian background, Brazilian American. It's what I say, and it's been always a real big uh, goal to join both of these groups. And this year I set aside time to
Yeah.
do both. Did both. One is a no audition thing to sing, but the other one you got to audition for. And thankfully, I got in playing this instrument called the tambourine. It's a small drum with a stick, and you play, essentially 16th notes uh, with the kind of the samba swing. And then there's like designs, kind of um, the tambourine is kind of like sprinkled on top as a as like a voicing kind of thing within the whole ensemble of drums. And
Hmm.
so there's lots of songs. There's a lot of like kind of studying you got to do, um, and also when you're in there with all those drums playing samba, this
It's a high
phenomenal.
intensity experience.
It's a high intensity experience, but we talk about the phenomenology of things, right? Like the phenomenology of sitting in a ceremonial context in the jungle with Icaros. There's things that people might experience, uh, incredible levels of emotion, of grief, happiness, joy. Kind of like all over the place. Even visuals of like snakes or animals that otorongos or eagles. But in samba, what the phenomenology, the common kind of feeling that people have is this incredible sense of joy. Uh, the songs are all about happiness being here and joy and sadness, not
Yeah.
coming around like ever again. And like you looking in the mirror, thinking that like you're the happiest person like in the room, and you're like the king of like this incredible party of like the most humble people, and
Yeah.
different stuff like that. And just intentionally kind of like letting loose, and the dancers are a big aspect in this also. And um, uh, it's incredible because just like people are going to the jungle, people are going to different countries, people are hopping in on YouTube or Instagram and watching people take something like a guitar and do something completely new to it. Some German girl that there's a awesome European girl that plays this guitar that is tuned in the most ridiculous way. There's people like Ichikanito who are playing guitar in this, ways that like no one has ever really like
Yeah.
done it. So, it's just like it's one of the reasons why I doom scroll. It's There's so much good like new music out there that it's uh and it's free to see, and you got YouTube, and it's just amazing to see what people are doing.
Yeah.
And you can learn. I mean, people are learning how to play instruments, and maybe they're not going through theory, but they're learning basic techniques that they can put together. And I think it's good. I think it's really really good. I think that um, again that it's a really really exciting time to just have a computer, switch it on, get your webcam, have a conversation with someone, and record it, and then people can watch it, and
Hell
then they're
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
this is super awesome. This has just changed the direction of my day. This definitely got me more excited, and I completely agree. Music is an incredible tool. It can calm our heart when it's too fast. It can make us happy when we're sad, and outside of like any kind of ceremony, if you're an athlete, you put on your headphones and you put on a
Yeah.
CD that's gonna like pump you up, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go give it my all, and
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
it helps with different archetypal aspects of ourselves. Like that's the warrior. Music can help, with the lover part of yourself, with the king part of yourself, with the magician part of yourself, into these different journeys and quests that you take yourself through in this beautiful life.
Makes life so rich. Yeah, so much richer, and that provides that depth. Um, so we're coming
Yeah,
up
it,
close to the
it
hour mark here. The last question I want to ask you, I feel like we have we can dive into all these topics. Is I think you have out of all the people who use sound self therapeutically, you have an interesting approach because you're a massage therapist and you have a lot of experience with voice. You're part of a choir. You have a lot of experience with music, and yeah, I'm curious, like, how do you use sound self therapeutically in your sessions, and why is that? Um, why do you think it's helpful for people?
Great question. One, I think that sound self gives us a unique opportunity to be with ourselves, with no BS, right? That's how I feel. That's one of, I think, the are one of the incredible benefits of sound self is that I had the great opportunity to work with you on your research, your CIIS sound self research study, and that's something I saw, something that I also relate to with my past training in the theater, and when I was doing study theater in New York City with Alan Langdon. I think that some of the most beneficial moments with Alan were the moments where I did certain exercises uh, that I could really be with myself, and these questions
Hmm.
that he would ask of me that I could kind of go into. And Sound Self does that. Sound Self, I think, is a tool of bringing in light into yourself, the light to illuminate a path, the light to illuminate understanding. Um,
But you use it within a massage therapy context, so that's something that I think is very unique.
yeah,
Share about that.
yeah. I think it has to do with trust. Also, Sound Self definitely opens people up. Maybe if it doesn't. I don't know how able someone is to receive therapy. I can assume, but Sound Self, I think, works on that same emotional body where you go in and you touch, and then the magic of trust happens, where hard fascia all of a sudden becomes soft, and now you're pressing on muscle fibers, muscle belly fibers, and they're able to kind of like unstick, and the tendons are, and then the more fluid is able to be pushed through soft tissue, and all of a sudden you have more nutrients, more electricity, because now the tendons that are squeezing the nerves are loosening up, and now all of a sudden your nerves have more electricity sending to your arm, and that's like relieving pain or numbness. And I use Sound Self as a like massage, almost as this way to help people either relax a little bit deeper, or believe something, or drops, something that doesn't serve them, right? Or believe that therapy is good. Because let me say this: as a therapist, I work on other therapists, and of course I go to other therapists for therapy, and everybody needs therapy. It is under therapy is underserved. Everybody needs a massage. Everybody needs to get massaged multiple times a month. It's incredible the amount of people who don't receive therapy throughout their lives. I have a client who, when he was 21, he broke his knee. He has no kneecap. He's never received a massage before. He's like 70 years old. Imagine going through your whole life without someone giving you a massage after you almost lost your leg. We're next week will be our third session, and from session number 1 to session number 2, it was a 1.5, maybe 2 hour session that I did with him. His body was like one way when I first worked with him, and then there was this carryover of the therapy where a lot of the things that we were working on weren't there anymore. This other lady had a traumatic car accident, couldn't reach back to undo her bra, and I went in, I worked on a certain section. Now she has range of motion. The Sound Self, I think, and I do. I mean, I have the little, the thing for my Sound Self earphones right here. I do Sound Self on the regular, because it just can do all these unexpected things by itself. It is, I mean, I think it's an incredible technology, in this world of AI, in this world of this, in this world of that. Do I think ChatGPT can mimic something close to what I experienced in the jungle? I don't see it. But can Sound Self? It comes much closer, because it's not necessarily the technology that's doing something. It's you. It's a sound coming from you. It's the depth, the infinite, this infinite place of, your voice, which comes from love, comes from right action, comes from courage. That's your voice. Every time you open your voice, it comes from these depths of energetic reservoirs that have like no end.
That's a beautiful thing for people, I think, to experience as they're entering a space of wanting to heal something, whether it's physical or psychological or emotional.
And let me tell you,
Yeah.
I don't really know what. Sometimes I don't know why I just offer it, because I know it's beneficial, and someone might have some experience with Sound Self, and someone might have another experience with Sound Self. And I have reports. People give me their reports sometimes. They're not always all the same, but they're always beneficial.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. People have, because it's, coming from them. It's their own unique experience, and it's their own unique way of approaching the task at hand, and their inner worlds. So, well, thanks, Mike, for being on the podcast. We can put your contact information in
Cool.
the show notes.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I think that we could keep on going for another hour talking. I would love to talk more about music, talk more about sound self, and I at clinical settings and
Yeah,
generative music, vinyl music, live music. Uh,
I think
it's
next time we should do a live podcast with me and you. We can do a live transmission of maybe a sound ceremony that we do to
That'll
give
be cool.
people a glimpse into what that's like. I think people will be interested in that.
Oh, that'd be
Um,
awesome. Yeah.
to see your approach of bringing in some Amazonian ceremonial craft into sound healing experiences. Um, but yeah, thanks, Mike. I'm gonna